Hey everybody, Mike here. I wanted to talk to you about the tool that I use the most in my classroom, and that's Google Websites. I actually use a lot of the Google apps together, so I'm going to talk about some of the different ones like Google Slides and Google Docs, and then I also use their Forms option. But mostly what I do is I use Google Sites for every single one of my students. What they do is they create an online portfolio with videos, with documents, with all the different works they're doing, and they put it all together. And then they share it and they make it public so I can look at it and I can grade it. Their parents can look at it, school can look at it, anybody can look at it, and they kind of update it throughout the semester. I kind of came to this because I teach design and technology and robotics, classes that you don't really assess in the standard way, right? What I'm looking for is for my students to document their progress as a learner and their iterations as they build a prototype and another prototype, or they build a robot that does this thing. It's easier to show them or have them show their work that way. Also, I really like it because it puts them in charge of what to assess, because I'm not going to see the work of 20 different kids in my class. They're all doing cool stuff, but I might miss things. But if they're choosing what pictures, what videos, what documents to create, then they're in charge of the assessment. They can choose the things they're proud of. And what's funny too is they also are really into showing failures. So like my robotics kids will do a lot of fail montages of their designs, which I love, and they came to that totally organically. It's a really cool process. So this is kind of the introduction, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screencast that kind of walks you through some of the work they've done, and then I'm going to show you how to do that work yourself. All right. Okay, so now let me do a screencast and kind of show you some of the work my students have done, as well as how to do these things. So what I do is I have a Google site of my own, and I have all this work on it that I've done, some press, some other things, some conferences, some presentations. Where a lot of this comes from is my Google Innovator project, which is from a couple years ago. But what I do with all my kids is we have our classes. So they can go through here and they can click on our classes, and I've got the links for the meets as well as the work we're doing, the syllabus. I give them like a checklist of the things they have to do. So I'm trying to model that behavior and show that to them. Now, sometimes this can be challenging for kids. So what I've also done is I've created a lot of video guides on how to create a student website, how to publish that website, how to upload Google Slides and Docs, how to create a subpage, all kinds of different things, sharing docs. So I'll put all those links in there too. But what my students do is they create these websites that show their work. So here's a student of mine, Erin, and this is her robotics website. So she's got a subpage for each of these challenges we've had. So when I click on our Thrill Rides project, I click on that there, and I can see who she worked with, the date she did it, where their ideas came from. I ask them questions like what inspired them, show them some building, unexpected challenges. They show the code they wrote, and then they kind of document the testing they did, and then what real world applications might happen. Then they've usually got a video that I really think is cool. So she's done that for all of her projects, and we can look at anything she's done and exactly who she worked with, when she did it. They're sketching for their ideas, and this is all on Google Docs. So she publishes all these things together. And super cool. Here's another student, Jaden. He built a makey project. So this kind of shows him prototyping, showing the code he wrote, showing his second iteration. Here's a link to some photos he did, some reflection. He put in a Google slideshow that I can now click on. And I can see this for anything he did. We did like a Genius Hour project, and what he did is kind of like a news aggregator, which I think is super cool. So he can document that. He's got some diaries. He did like each day he documented kind of the work he did. So this is all on there. I can pull it up whenever I want. And here's what's really cool is what I do is I create something like this. And this is a Google Sheet. And all my students, I get their names, and I got their website right there, and I can grade and I can comment everything there, and I can even write midterm comments for them. And it's a super easy tool for every single one of my classes. And so now, whenever I need to update a kid's grade, I'm like, oh man, I gotta update this kid's grade. I can just go right to his site and click on it, and it pulls up like the work he's done, some things like there. He was in my 2 robotics classes. There's his challenges. Here's some more challenges. So super cool, super easy. And then by the time they're a senior, you hope it looks like this, because this is my superstar kid. And this is some of the stuff he's designed. He redesigned something for the Nintendo Switch. And man, this website is just a thing of beauty. I mean, look at that. Like, this kid, in addition to all his great design work, is learning a ton of skill about programming, coding for the web. I mean, watch this. Watch this. This is my favorite part. Ready? Oh, that's so cool. And he's got that for all of his projects. He's done a lot of things for me. He did this MagSafe stand for his phone. So all this takes really is a camera and a computer for our students. And then they've got to be able to build this website. And Google Sites works pretty great for everybody. If you've never used it before, you just go right here, you open yourself up a new tab, and you go to Sites, and you click on it, and let's start a new one. Here you go. This part goes a little slow, so sorry if the video is running a little bit long. And you've got your title page, so this could be like EDU, 707, Mike's, that looks terrible. And then down here, I could do stuff, look, I could add in, I click on that, it allows me to put in a picture if I want, I can upload, I can select an image, I can pull something from my Google Drive, I can pull a YouTube video, all these kind of things. But if I wanted, look at all the stuff I can insert. I can do a text box, images, but that's not all. I can put in any of my Google Docs I want. I can put in my slides, my sheets, a form, a chart. So when I create the work for my students' classes, if you look at my classroom, all of our work is here. And let's say my robotics kids can click here. And I've put everything in here. Here's their syllabus. Here's all the things they have done. So they've got a checklist of all the work they have to do. And then if I scroll down, I've got a welcoming. I've got a subpage for each of our major projects. I've got the class syllabus linked there. I've got their assignments. I say, hey, let's build a website. This is your first assignment of the year. Your website should have these things on it, right? So they can see all this. I'm like, hey, here's a link to my video guides. Here's an example of a bio video. And then I kind of like go down, I can show them everything I need them to do. And it works out really well. And it's not just for that. I can also link a lot of different things for them, like maybe some stuff to inspire them. So down here, for their intro projects, I kind of put some, what is design thinking? How do we design? So I've got a little slideshow, and they've always got access to the slideshow. They can click through it. And this is all open to you guys too, so you're welcome to look at my websites and ask me any questions you want. Here's some videos of some cool designed things. Okay, now let's talk about design thinking. So we look at IDEO, so I put these things on there. So it's kind of like Google Classroom, but I've got a little bit more control over it, which I really like. And so that's kind of how I do these things with my students. And then they publish them, and I can go through and I can grade them. I can keep track of all their work. I can give them overall stuff, some comments, dates, everything. It's an awesome tool. Google Sites is fantastic. So one of the cool things about using this as a tool is I can help students build websites in addition to all their learning they're doing for my class. So not only are they learning things about graphic design and aesthetics, they're learning how to code and build stuff. And right now Google Sites is all just drag and drop, but really that's not a far jump to go from here to like coding for a website. But it can be challenging, especially for a kid who might not be super comfortable with web design or Google Suites, because sometimes I have students who've been doing this for years, and other times kids have no idea how to do it. It's kind of like creating an iMovie video. So one thing I did is I've got a YouTube channel, and it's pretty active, and I've got a lot of videos on there for my students in my classes, and I try to put a lot of things up there that might help them. So I created a whole playlist about building a Google Websites portfolio, and they can go through here and they can click on this. And what's cool is this will show them right? Creating a subpage and a button, biography video, making sure you're sharing documents, how to create student websites. And if a kid is having trouble with this, I can just link one of these websites or these videos to them, and they can look at it and kind of walks them through what they need to do. So then hopefully their website looks this good as some of the amazing things my kids have done. And what a great way to showcase their learning. And for me, for design, they've got all the stuff on there, unless they don't make it public. But they've got a lot of their stuff here. And it gets really cool, and there's just a lot of stuff out there for them to build and showcase all the awesome things that we're doing in class. And then I can grade them on the work they're doing, their design. And what's really awesome is if I have a kid who's been in my classes for years, and a lot of our schools trying to kind of start doing this, they can showcase their growth and show what their projects looked like 5 years ago and then what their project looked like now, which is the whole point of this, is making their learning and their learning journey visible so that they can see about their progress and see how far they've come and all the cool stuff they've done. I can do that for myself, right? I can look at my old Google pages, I can look at my old YouTube videos, and I'm like, wow, I've come a long way. So hope you like this tool. Hope you think Google Sites is pretty cool for your students. Please let me know how I can help you, and take care and build more cool stuff. All right, bye everybody.